When you were a baby, you were misidentified as a British territorial citizen, and a false registration was established claiming that you were. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Teacher Raf. This is Twilight Zone episode 20, and I wanted to read an article by Anna von Reitz. The headline is "The Method and the Madness." I'm not sure if you're familiar with her work, but apparently she's written almost 3,000 articles and maybe a few books. She's an attorney who's researched for a long time information. So let me know if you have other evidence or supporting documents or some type of source links, or if what she said is true or false, or how we can learn from this. All right, let's see what we can learn here. So, The Method and the Madness by Anna von Reitz. Let's read this together. If the world that you assume to exist since babyhood isn't the real world, what if? What if things are very different than what you were led to believe? Then you would see things differently. You would make different assumptions, and those assumptions would be wrong. But of course you wouldn't find that out until you stubbed your toe on a rock that appeared to be a flower. Many American patriots have had exactly this experience when they entered into a district court. The grand illusion was shattered when the judge bellowed, "If you say one more word about the Constitution, I am holding you in contempt of court. The Constitution doesn't apply in this court." Remember, district court. And the helpless victims were carted off to years in federal prison, not understanding what federal means, not having a clue why the Constitution wouldn't apply. Whoa. It will take effort on your part to come to grips with reality, and it won't be pleasant at first. But at the end of the trail lies a glorious truth and others, worthy companions, waiting for you to wake up and find it. So let's begin at the beginning. When you were a baby, you were misidentified as a British territorial citizen, and a false registration was established claiming that you were. This was done on purpose. Next, all your earthly estate was rolled over into a foreign situs trust. In legal terms, you had, via this false registration, been trafficked into British territorial jurisdiction and unlawfully converted into a British Territorial U.S. citizen, just like someone born in Puerto Rico. This new U.S. citizen is a foreign situs trust, and it was given your name, and it appears just as your proper name appears in upper and lower case. Okay. There is no visual or auditory difference between, for example, George Philip Stone, an American, and George Philip Stone, a British territorial U.S. citizen. So, of course, neither you nor your mother knew that any change had been made. You were just a baby in your cradle, totally unaware of the larger world, and she had been deliberately duped by what are called similar names deceits into signing you over as a ward to the British territorial state of state organization that had, also without public knowledge, been operating in your state as if it were an American-run state of state organization, since just after the Civil War. By this means, you were unlawfully converted from being a living American owed all the guarantees of the federal constitutions to being identified as a British territorial foreign situs trust, a ward of the state, owned by a foreign state of state organization that shouldn't have been operating in your state of the union. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, and you are probably shaking your head in consternation thinking, I never agreed to any of this. I'm not a territorial U.S. citizen like somebody from Puerto Rico. This is just nothing but BS. And so it is, but it stands until you object to it. And how will you object if you don't know that anything has happened? You were maybe a week old when this was done, and your mother did this for you without the benefit of full disclosure, and nothing appeared to change. So you have been bound by a totally unconscionable contract. This is a contract that you are unaware of. You don't know it exists. So you can't object to it. Next, the British territorial government that had latched onto you illegally and immorally trafficked their brand new foreign situs trust into yet another foreign jurisdiction and entered into an estate trust agreement with the Holy Roman Empire, which was still running the municipal United States government. These criminals agreed to split the take by splitting the title to the trust they created for you. This is where all these titles come into view. Personal titles like Mr. and Mrs. and Doctor are all foreign, and so are land titles. The British Territorial Organization operating as the state of Minnesota, for example, would keep the equitable title to the George Philip Stone Trust they created out of hot air and give the legal title to the municipal United States to administer. The municipal United States government, operating as an international city-state in Washington, D.C., then created another kind of trust, a Sestu QV trust, doing business under your name in all capital letters, like this. Okay, all capitalized, George Philip Stone. And they began selling all sorts of contracts for him to fulfill, okay? These contracts included child labor contracts and mortgages on his estate and all sorts of other things that he would, if they were lucky, never learn about in his lifetime. And the profit from all of these peonage and chattel contracts would simply go into a giant slush fund that the Pope and the Queen and their vassals would administer for little George Philip Stone asleep on the hay. That's what your public employees did for you before you were a month old, and all without you or your parents knowing anything about it. There's just one problem for them. All of this is nothing but fraud and impersonation exercised via long outlawed contracting processes that can't stand the light of day. So when the great fraud and its mechanisms were discovered, the criminals had to begin making tracks, which they have. And now they are fighting among themselves about it. The members of the municipal government, including Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and others, are determined to try to brazen it out and somehow continue business as usual. The members of the territorial government, including Donald Trump and the entire crime-fighting apparatus of the world at large, realizes that they have to do something to stop this or be accomplices to the crimes against Americans. And where are you, Americans? Whoa, if you have brain in your heads, you are already making tracks to establish your correct political status as Americans, and you are happily refuting any registration as a British Territorial U.S. citizen. And you are joining and supporting your state assembly, which has been called into session to deal with this mess. Go to www.theamericanstatesassembly.net and get started today. All Americans, including federal employees, are eligible to participate. Okay, so this was an article read by Anna von Reitz titled The Method and the Madness. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have evidence or some type of source links. We continue on our journey to figure out what is the state of our reality. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, and be safe.